First off, we'll hit you with an azalea. We do have some availability on some of the azaleas. This one is George Crimson and a 19 centimeter. Most of the azaleas we have are all May bloomers. They're, it depends how warm each year is. Sometimes they're looking good for Mother's Day. Sometimes some of the varieties might be in full. We really want to ship these before that time. And but we don't want to ship them too early. So there's a real specific window to get these to the customers, which is right at the end of April, possibly very, very early May. You don't want to wait too long. You don't want to get them there too early, especially if you have customers that don't have a good way to protect them. Because they do need a little bit of protection. So that's really the time to push people to take them. If we try to ship azaleas when they're out in full bloom, you're going to disappoint people. So it's always a crapshoot at this time of year to determine what is the perfect date because you don't know how the weather's going to be. But those are my recommendations for shipping there. Obviously you can ship them earlier if you'd like. It's just that it's very important that the customer protects the plant. But most of the azaleas are sold through, but we wanted to show you George Crimson here. This is a good pick. We also have Herbert still out there. I know that we're way overbooked on Karen, but make sure you're looking at Herbert. That's a very good sub for Karen, 19 centimeter there. You can see the size of the plant is just phenomenal. What I've seen with our 19 centimeters is just as big as the 3 gallons out there that a lot of our competitors are trying to sell. So make sure you're talking about the size, the structure. They're so nice. They got really good breaks. The growers did a great job with them. They're all protected out there in the nursery. We water them throughout the winter, because the azaleas don't go totally dormant, so they do require water now and then throughout the winter. And we just try to heat them just a little bit. We try not to let them freeze real hard. We'll let a little bit of freezing happen in there, but the only reason we put heat in there is to really get us through any temperatures that get down around 0 or in the negative range. We want some protection from that. So, but other than that, we're looking real good. The crop looks good, ready to go. So you still have a couple of choices there for azaleas. Crimson Cutie, we want to talk about that. A lot of the barberry are sold out. There's a little bit of shortage out there on some of the standards. We're really pushing our focus to the new breeding out there, Crimson Cutie, which is in the worry-free program. This is a sterile barberry. This is the barberry we want to lead with. This is the barberry that we're putting against pygmy and a lot of the other ones. This is just a better way to go. We're also pushing, hard on the PW program. We're temporarily out of those right now, but I am bringing in quite a few more liners, really trying to beef up those numbers. We just think these newer generation barberry are the way to go. They're much better. You don't get, even though the proven winner ones are not certified sterile, they still haven't seen a lot of seeding in them. Plus, they went through a lot of breeding with them. They're definitely superior barberry, but our pick for Willoway and our thrust and the direction we really want to go is with Crimson Cutie. So you still have availability. Make sure you're talking about that to anybody who's looking for any of the reds out there. This one would sub right in. Bux's Faulkner. I'll keep talking about this. I don't think a lot of people know about it. It's a plant that's grown a lot out on the West Coast. With some of the issues that they're having, I know Pennsylvania is really restricting. There'll be full restrictions next year on boxwood coming in from a lot of states. So California, Oregon is definitely on their hit list. So they will not allow boxwood to come in from those states. And there are a whole lot of other states. But Ohio is good to go. So we can ship Ohio boxwood into Pennsylvania. So each state's doing things a little different. It's all about trying to limit their exposure to boxwood blight. So long story short, there may be some customers out there that were getting Faulkner from the West Coast. We need to keep pushing this into those territories. It's a great boxwood for Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, all the way through. It's a little more upright, kind of egg-shaped, kind of almost like the Freedom is. Its boxwood blight resistance is good, not as good as the new gen program, but it still ranks up there pretty good. It's been around for a long time, so it should be fairly familiar to most of your customers out there. It's new to us. We've talked about it before, but I want to keep pushing it. We have 4,000 of them. It was a mistake through the production process. But we like the plant. The plant grew very well, and I think it would be useful out there in the landscape. So. Chamaecyparis mops. So we were on the short side last year. This year, the 3 gallon is the winner here. We're short on 2s, but we have a fantastic crop of 3s. Over 3,500 of them still available. You can see there the size of them. We can pull that all day long. They're over at the Dar Road Farm. Very consistent crop, 2-year-old crop. That's what it takes to get this plant of the quality that we want to have it at before it goes out the door. Most of you know pretty much everything about mops, but I just want to show you the quality there again, and feel confident to sell large numbers of them. Plethora 16 candles. This is one of the first crops. We made a lot of changes, but this is one of the first crops. This is a late summer photo in the middle, and you can see the crop in the background. It was just a great crop. The growers made some changes out there. We did a few different things, and we were able to really turn around this plethora crop. We struggled with it for a few years. And we like 16 candles because it's a lot more uniform grower. It gets better breaks from the bottom. You don't get that. Some of them, like the Ruby and stuff, get really poor bottoms on them. They tend to kind of hollow out on the bottom. They don't look as fresh. 16 candles gets really good breaks from the bottom, so it stays full to the container. Makes a real nice shape. Very fragrant. Good bloomer. This is a summer bloomer, and a native, and attracts butterflies and hummingbirds and bees and the whole thing. So it's a pollinator plant. So it's got a lot of good things going for it. And the breeding with 16 candles, I really like that for its consistency. So we do have 700 of them available, so that's a good one to push out there. Cotoneaster apiculata, this one's been around for a very, very long time. We just wanted to show you these. We have 500 of these. We really want to move them. They're large, so hopefully you can pass that on. If they pick these plants up, they'll get more square footage out of them when they're most of the time. Cotoneaster is used as more mass plantings, so they would need fewer of these to make it. Anything you could do, anything you could talk about it to move it. It's obvious that we don't want this plant still left on the nursery at the end of May. We really need to work hard to move these out. But you can see they're great quality, great size, ready to go. Keep talking about that one. Grass, Cheyenne Sky. Not much to look at right now. This is what they look like. So we do trim them. We trim them back. That's the height they get trimmed back to. They'll re-break. We do put a little bit of heat to them in the spring. So we have something growing in there by the end of April. So we have some growth on it. It's not going to be a big full grass by that time, but you can definitely tell it's viable, and it looks like something. It's not just a pot with some sticks in it. So that's really what we do. You can ship it anytime you want. But if the intention is to really land it there with just a little bit of growth on it, you want to be shipping it at that time. You won't really see any significant coloring or a huge amount of growth on it until we get towards mid-May. So early shipping, that's something if somebody asks, well, it kind of looks a little green or this, that, the more sunlight they get, the redder they get. So that's how this plant progresses. So really for it to really start coming into its own, you have to be patient and let it go through May, and then you'll start getting the coloration. But we have 700 of those available, so real good choice in the grass program. Limetta. So Limetta, we did struggle with this plant. We did some selection on it, and as you can see from the photo, that was late summer there, early fall. On the left-hand side there, you can see how consistent the crop is behind it. We have a fantastic looking crop. Some of the earlier ones out there had a little bit of trouble. We've worked through that. Proven Winner Spring Meadow has worked through that. So we're getting a much more consistent plant, much more truer to their original selection. So we really need to make a push out there. This is what it is. It's a nice dwarf. We have much better foliage, cleaner foliage. It is a kind of a green, then it goes into white, and then you will get a little bit of pink blush in there. So it will get just a little bit of that pink blush here and there, not enough to guarantee that you're going to have a pink blush on them all, but you will see that go through there. So that is something that happens with this one. It's not always pure white, but or greenish white. You will get a little bit of pink. We have 1,200 of them. They're great. We will do a real light shear on these before we start shipping, just to kind of cut off the spent flowers from last year, and just to kind of even up the size. So that's how that will ship going out dormant. I would not anticipate really having any growth on this until we get into May. Obviously, this is more of a late spring, summer kind of focused plant, but I know a lot of people like to bring in their hydrangeas. People are always looking for them in the spring, but it is not a plant to focus on or to promise any kind of color landing. So we did have a few issues with that last year. People were concerned. They really wanted the flower on it. That's not how these arborescens and paniculatas and macrophyllus really work. Last, so we have Picea glaucoconica. There we go. So these are plants that we were able to secure. Unfortunately, they don't have a ruler in there, but I did have another photo that had a ruler in there. They're over 48 inches. They're a 7-gallon. We're bringing in about 1,000 of these. We have committed right now just shy of 400 on, it was the 7-gallon 36-inch code. That leaves us with 600 available. We went ahead and changed the code to 48. It's the same price. So through their misfortune was our gain. So they lost a fairly significant order, the vendor that we're working with, and we were able to pick these up at a good enough price where we can offer them at the price we were selling our 36-inch. So I don't think there's going to be any issues with anyone. I think they'll be very pleased. You may want to communicate that, hey, we promised a 36, 48. There's some conversations to be had. with the people who have them booked, maybe they want a few more now that they know that we have a 48-inch and that look this nice. All right. Anybody have any questions?